Cabin crew, be seated for takeoff.
Probably the last time I will tell this story. It was late 2015 and I was heading to my holiday destination to the Gili Islands in Indonesia from Shanghai, where I was living at the time. And when I got on the flight, it was an AirAsia flight, of course, I picked out the in-flight magazine Travel 360 out of the seat pocket in front of me, and I instantly noticed its great quality and content. It was full of brilliant photography and insightful articles. It was really like the very last great specimen of printed media. And when we landed, instead of putting it back to the seat pocket, I put it in my bag, which you're not supposed to. And from my hotel, I immediately sent an email to the editor, just offering my services, and I sent a portfolio. I didn't expect much, but she replied the same day, and she said, how about the first assignment? So hence my 5-year work started with AirAsia, where I became an official staff, and I moved here to Malaysia to join the company. Just recently in 2021, I parted ways with the company and I finished my 5-year employment as a foreign photojournalist for AirAsia. And if anyone expects that this video is going to be like spilling the beans and bad-mouthing the company video, it's not going to be it. I will just talk about the highlights of these 5 years. And of course, Tony Fernandes doesn't need any introduction. I mean, Tony is a living legend in Malaysia and, to be honest, in the whole Southeast Asia region. And it was really a privilege to work. Before COVID, it was really a privilege to work for AirAsia. He started out with 2 planes originally and ended up with a 250 fleet of aircrafts. I mean, he basically revolutionized travel within Southeast Asia. I mean, here's a BBC interview that I really love because it tells a lot about him. Just listen to these few sentences, it's really worth it.
Oh, I don't think you can be an effective CEO unless you get down to the ground. You cannot understand the operation and you make some very bad decisions unless you work the floor. If you sit up in your ivory tower and just look at financial reports, you're going to make some big mistakes, and I think it's a necessity to get down to the floor.
And the fact that he personally contributed to me joining the company just added to the magic of working for AirAsia. To be a photographer, a photojournalist for a major airline meant another level to me, and I really wanted to reach this. I really felt that it was a job that would take me to another level in photography, just the excess and the intensity of the job. I was freelancing for about 2.5 years for the in-flight magazine before the idea came that I joined officially. We found ourselves in a situation with my editor that something like AirAsia froze the hiring account in 2018 or something. There were too many people with the company and I didn't want any more. Anyway, in the end, my editor suggested to approach Tony personally. First, I found the idea quite ridiculous because, you know, who am I to approach a guy with 250 airplanes just like asking for a job, and how to approach him, that was the other issue. I must say I had some leverage there because I already had like a 2.5 year work history with the airline, I mean with the in-flight magazine, so I had something to show to him. And in the end, he said yes, and I got the job. Obviously, especially after being retrenched, I could say that he plays the good cop in the company, but I have enormous respect for the man, and I will never forget that he gave me a chance to be an all-star, an AirAsia staff, and I really needed it. It's really just small stuff that you're sitting in the meeting room, for example, and you see him riding his bike outside the office while this serious meeting is going on. It just, or whether it's a fist bump or a quick chat on the corridor, he has this electrifying and motivating presence, and it's almost like when you talk to him, it's almost like you don't want to let him down. And I remember I had this really small but great moment with him. It was just after a few months after I got the job, and he was around the office talking to people, and he saw me from a distance, and he walked towards me and he said, "Hey, I remember you. You're the guy who wanted the job, right? See, we made it happen." It was just such a cool and simple gesture. Working as a photojournalist for an airline, of course, it's as glamorous as it sounds. You're on the road all the time, you're in different countries and cities every week. I remember like I was switching cities like Singapore, Bangkok, Hong Kong, Shanghai, like I was walking quickly in between rooms. I was switching countries and cities so quick that they didn't really have an impact on me anymore. And with that much travel, it's kind of unimaginable to some people how the joy and the thrill of travel just evaporates. It doesn't have a meaning anymore, and it's a scary place to be. But I was really burning out by the end. I mean, I was constantly switching countries each week, sometimes the extreme places, like for example from rural India, suddenly you find yourself in Tokyo, and you move from place to place and you just don't have time to digest the experiences, and I think that's the reason why you feel so empty in the end. And the worst thing is that you cannot really complain about this to anyone, not to your employers, not to your friends, because what are you really complaining about? You're traveling too much. Nobody would understand what's the downside of that. Like any other airline, AirAsia provided its staff with the ID90 discount. This is a 90% discount on any flight you want. So basically you can hop on any flight to anywhere, to Australia, to India, to China, and travel for 10%. And on top of this we got the coupons. I can't remember what was it called, but we had these coupons that also gave us free travel. Really too much, such an excess, really such an excess. And of course, on the top of all that, the extra bonus was getting to know my team, my colleagues. I mean, what a privilege that was. We had so much fun.
Nikki everything.
Nikki everything.
Nikki everything.
So where are these videos going? It's such an amazing thing that from a random flight on a holiday, you pick up an in-flight magazine, and in the end, you become a part of that team. Can hardly describe that transformation. Malaysian people have this incredible sense of humor and wit, which was such a drastic change for me after living for so long in mainland China, and just to experience this. What was so exceptional about this was that we had so much fun, and at the same time I picked up and learned so much about Malaysian culture through them. One of my favorite things while working in the AirAsia headquarters was to walk the company dogs. Oh yes, I know you, I know you. Originally, when they did the groundbreaking for the building, they found 4 puppies on the site, and Tony adopted them and named them after AirAsia flight codes QZ, AK, D7 and FD. In the middle of your working day, what better break you could have from your screen, from your computer screen, than going down and walk the dogs. Obviously the building is called Red Q, and they named the kennel after that. It's called Dog Q. After walking them regularly, I still find it hard not to associate these codes with the actual dogs, especially with my favorite QZ. At the time of my retrenchment, I must say that I was kind of relieved, because it was really time to go, and I had this perfect 5 years, and for some reason I always have this 5-year cycle in everything I do. And this was the same from 2016 until 2021, so it was exactly 5 years. After the magazine finished, it was kind of meaningless. I was just drifting from one department to the other, and I couldn't find myself really anymore within the company. And when I eventually got my retrenchment, it kind of made sense, and I was relieved, because immediately I got my old self back, and it was time. It was really time after 5 years. No grudges towards the company. The only thing I could mention, and this is not really regarding me, this is regarding of other employees, that maybe, as I respect him, Tony shouldn't say stuff in the press like he will rehire all the AirAsia staff that he had lost, because it's not going to happen, obviously, and it's quite disrespectful towards the people who are obviously out. You have to put yourself in that position. You're out of the company, you're gone, and it's not nice when somebody's making publicity out of saying that you will be rehired. Of course you won't be rehired, for sure. As for AirAsia, I really have no hard feelings. It was an amazing 5 years, and I hope the company recovers soon after COVID, if there's after COVID. I wouldn't say I hope it gets back to normal, because what was normal, I remember before 2020, and I was in the middle of this, people were traveling for stupid Instagram posts, and Instagrammers were just all over the planet for no reason, and really, quite honestly, let's not sacrifice our environment and the nature for that kind of rubbish. So I really do hope, in a way, that it doesn't get back to normal. There will be some kind of sense to travel after this, but as a company, I hope AirAsia recovers.